You know, when I first got into law enforcement, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today or we're dealing with statewide never even entered the conversation or even in my mind as far as thinking about it. I didn't even consider myself a politician, but let's face it, people, we got things coming our way that we've never faced before. The storm is coming, and not only is the storm coming, the problem is under the current conditions, the storm's going to continue to get stronger and stronger. And I don't want to be the negative Nelly in the room for all of this stuff, but we have to talk about facts. And we have to talk about real stuff and why it's happening and why it makes a difference. And so when you talk about those fentanyl and that trafficking coming up so strong in the cartel pushing those drugs, and then you make legislative changes and you decrease law enforcement's ability to enforce dangerous drugs. Okay, we're not just talking about recreational drugs. We're talking about dangerous drugs that's going to kill you. It's going to kill your family member. I traveled down to the Arizona-Mexico border in April of 2021 when we looked at this massive uptick in the increase of human trafficking and drug smuggling coming across the U.S.-Mexico border. And they were predicting they were going to hit around 500,000 fentanyl pill seizures just for one sheriff's office. They didn't hit 500,000. For 2021, they hit 1.2 million. And I've talked to that sheriff and I've talked to his chief, and they said, we've never seen anything like it. So it's coming, and it's not just coming. It doesn't stop in Arizona, it doesn't stop in Phoenix. It goes all across the United States. It comes up to the Pacific Northwest, and it comes to north central Washington, Chelan County. Wenatchee PD saw their first, what we would call large seizure here. And then just recently, here, just a couple weeks ago, we had a 10,000 pill seizure. And we're working cases where we believe we can actually purchase 40 to 50,000 easily. No doubt in my mind, those drugs are adding a very new dynamic to behavioral health issues. There's a lot of different reasons. You see somebody walking down the street and acting a certain way. When I got into law enforcement in the late 90s and the early 2000s, the big one was the manufacturing of meth. There's these chemicals that it's made with, it just eats your body away from the inside out. But at the same time, that drug is much easier to get off and walk away from. The difference is with that fentanyl, it's increasingly getting stronger. They're starting to lace it into other drugs. The cartel's saying, if I can get you addicted, you're going to continue to buy this from me. And through that addiction is going to tear apart families, and there's going to be a lot of sadness, and there's going to be a lot of tough stuff happen. That carries on over into society and the communities that we live in. We're going to see increased homelessness. We see an uptick in crime and behavioral health crisis. People in crisis are the ones that we're going to see. Now let's talk a little bit about legislative changes. They say that putting people in prison and in jail is not the answer, and they've made it so now we can't charge in a felony court and superior court. And law enforcement executives and leaders and subject matter experts from around the state said, oh no, please don't go down this road. We believe this is what's going to happen. And they said, well, we don't, and we think this is the course we need to do. So they made some changes, passed it legislatively, and a total failure from day one. Instantly in July 21, when some of these laws went in effect, we saw auto theft go from 2,000 cars stolen each month in the state of Washington to over 4,000. And I'm sorry, but legislators, you gotta step up and own this. And registered voters, you need to be talking and telling them what you want. We need to hear from you. Your legislators need to hear from you. They need to know what's important. The bottom line is, when we're talking about public safety in the criminal justice system and dangerous drugs and behavioral health, we're gonna talk facts. And we're gonna educate and try to do everything that we can do to protect and preserve our quality of life, because that's really what it's about. When you talk to people that came out of drug addiction, they will always tell you, I wanted out. I felt in bondage. I felt like the chains and shackles were strapping me down, but it was such a pull, they couldn't pull away and they couldn't change it. So how do you help somebody in that type of crisis? You do absolutely everything you can. My kids could be the one that's running down that road of drug addiction and dying from a fentanyl overdose, and that's where it hits you right here. And so that's why we can't lose that compassion. We have to act. We have to act with force and we have to act with confidence, and we have to act in numbers, but at the same time we have to act with compassion and care and sensitivity and balance all of those things down the road. And we're going to prepare and equip, and we're going to spend the right dollars in the right direction to prepare our staff, local law enforcement, to be able to go straight into the storm and to survive the storm and actually bring you and your loved ones back out of that storm with them. And that's why I think one of the things that we have going here in Chelan County and regionally is that we've built a regional-based training system. We've got 4 to 5 different agencies that are working strong, and we've got great leaders in each of those agencies. And we've had some people with some great ideas, and we've ran with those ideas and come together and say, this is what's best for what we call the Valley. Okay, when we talk about the Columbia River splitting both counties, Chelan and Douglas County, and a couple cities in there, crime does not know boundaries, and they don't care.